Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Doom Patrol Season 3. I'm curious, I watched this entire season, and I've been confused since day one, which is not really that different because Doom Patrol is a different show, but you can always grasp as to what's going on as you follow along with the season. And I've been wondering, did Doom Patrol somehow trick us into thinking it's like a great show when really it's just like a bizarre, loosely based adaptation of actually somewhat loosely based and somewhat not of the comic? Because this third season is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and I've been confused for the longest time as to what is going on in season 3, and I'm not the only person. And they just had the finale today, and after watching it I'm even more confused, and I'm really disappointed because they brought in some really cool villains that wasn't even really villains, but then that's what they always do. So I don't know. I feel like I've been tricked. I feel like I've been punked or something like that. And there's hidden cameras and Ashton Kutcher. So I'm just I really truly think this show has really tricked people into thinking it's just something cool and awesome. I mean, it was the first DC Universe show to make the transition into HBO Max. So, that was big all on itself. And so, because I've been wondering, because see, here's the thing about Doom Patrol. I like Doom Patrol. It's a good show. I really love the first season. I really like the second season. Even though the second season was slightly weighed down, just a slight bit. But then it picked up towards the middle and the end. But season 3 has just confused me. But the thing about Doom Patrol is it was a backdoor pilot for Titans. And people really loved that episode, and then they got their own series that's set in a completely different continuity on the same network. And see, the thing about Titans, it came out in season 1 of Titans, and as people can all agree, Titans just Titans just in general is a mess. The first season was so dark and gritty and badly paced that people was just shocked and confused by what they saw, and because of that, they had a sour taste in their mouth when it came to that of Titans. Then Doom Patrol came around, and okay, so it kind of followed that same formula that Titans did. It was gonna show the formation of the team, and see, Titans really had no emotion in season 1. It was just dark and gritty and moody, and so that's the only emotion it had, was just moodiness and stuff, and it had no character development. So then Doom Patrol came around, and it shocked and amazed people because they assumed it was going to be exactly like Titans, all dark and gritty, but no, they grabbed what was supposed to be the heart and emotion of Titans and they fused it into this show, and they did it in such a way that it marvelized people. They're like, whoa, they couldn't believe they actually felt something for a bunch of characters because they couldn't do that for Titans. And the thing about the Doom Patrol is that they're a tragic case of misfits. Everybody has somewhat of a dark past. Some of them were bad people. Well, they not necessarily bad people. They just did bad things to hurt people. And then a freak accident happened. They all turned into disfigured people and became immortalized and stuff. And then so they live in the mansion with this one dude, and he takes care of them. And they all try to support each other, even though they're all super depressed. Basically, they're a group of woe is me type people, aka they are the X-Men. This is how the X-Men got started because they saw what happened in Doom Patrol the comic, hey, let's steal this idea and stuff. They even had the Brotherhood of Evil. I mean, come on now. And so through the first season, we went through this roller coaster of emotion and depth. And and it was just like amazing, and people fell in love with the series. And so during the first season, we assumed, okay, we're gonna see the formation of the team. Now, I've never read a Doom Patrol comic, but I have seen them in Teen Titans, the animated series, and I know for them to be like a superhero team. They remind me a little bit more of the Fantastic Four and stuff. Yeah, I wonder where they got that idea from. And so, like, seriously, man, Marvel steals like left and right. And so, like, I'm like, okay, they're a superhero team, and they have some villains, and like this and that, and Beast Boy was supposed to be in this show, but they switched him out for Cyborg. I already made videos about that. Go check that out. Um, and so they had, what is it, Mr. Nobody as like a villain, and even though I didn't know what the world that was, it was intriguing. He was funny. He was like had a cool design, and it was like he was so off the wall, and the show was so off the wall. I'm like, this is just so neat and cool. This is like something different, and I needed something different. And so did everybody else, because Titans was just so not what people expected. And so then we see like where they're hallucinating type thing, and they're like, oh, they finally formed a team. They have their old classic costume because what's his name? Is it? Ooh, what's the dude in the wheelchair's name? Niles. Yeah, he formed the Doom Patrol back in the day, and so then in the second incarnation, we're like, okay, cool, man. We get to see them finally in their costumes and do this, but it was just like a hallucination type thing. And so, like, they never became the Doom Patrol team, even though Cliff wanted to be a superhero and stuff. And so then, it was just all this wacky stuff that happened. There was like a giant rat, and then I think it made love to a giant cockroach or something like that. There was Mr. Metallo and his bizarre power that had me rolling on the ground laughing, man. I could not stop laughing. And then, it ended with them kind of being defeated. Like they gave like a inspirational speech to the main like villain, and okay, he changed his ways, whatever. But it still backfired to the point where they all got screwed. They all got shrunk. And so like I'm thinking to myself, okay, neat. So let's see what's gonna happen in the next season. So then next season, they were still shrunk in the first episode for a few minutes. But then that all got taken away when they got big, like really fast. I'm like, oh man, I want to see them small again. But then the second season did the whole rinse, wash, and repeat thing. Because Doom Patrol is a wash, rinse, and repeat type of show, where it just keeps doing the same thing over and over. And it's like, okay, fine. Like, okay, I accept it. This is what this show is about. They're never going to be a superhero team. They're just going to bring in their classic villains, have them be somewhat comedic, probably. Bring in a bunch of wacky other villains that you will never see in a live action movie because of how wacky they are. And like, they'll do the whole, oh, woe is me. And then one member want to be a superhero, and then the other ones don't. And then they just argue with each other. And then they stick up for each other. And they have each other's back. And then they fight the main villain at the end of the season just for it to get resolved in the first episode of premiere. It's just a cycle they repeat. And then when I got into the third season, because like in the second season, they introduced Dorothy, which is Niles' daughter. And she's like half like cave person-y, achy looking thing. And so like the big fear was she has all these different personalities inside her, imaginary friends, and this candle maker thing that really wants to take over. And so all that crap. So they get defeated at the end of the season. Only for once again, in the beginning of the third season, everything gets resolved. The whole Miranda subplot going on with Jane, that got resolved really fast in the third season. That was one of the most interesting things of season 2 was the whole Jane Miranda thing. Like, you learned so much more about like her character that I never really expected and stuff. And she's one of the most fascinating, probably the most fascinating character on the show because of all those different personalities in the underground and the primaries and the Miranda and the K thing. And then it gets to season 3. So by this time, I'm like, okay, whatever. I accept this show for what it is. They're never gonna be a superhero team. They're just a bunch of depressed misfits that dance all the time. And then in season 3 started, like I said before, everything got resolved from season 2 really quick. And then this season took a different, like a little bit of a different shift. They had another huge villain, but this is a villain I actually recognized. It was the Brain and his little gorilla friend. I'm like, oh, I remember them from Teen Titans. They're really evil. Then I read this season, Madame Rouge is gonna be here, and she's played by, I think her name is Michelle Gomez. I love Michelle Gomez. She was really great in that Sabrina show. She's a really good actress. And I remember Madame Rouge also again from that Teen Titans cartoon series. She was very evil. She whooped the mess out of Robin and everything. They had a cool fight. And Michelle is great at playing the villain when she was Madame Satan. So I'm like, this is up her alley. But then as things started to go on, I'm just like, what the world is going on in this season? I'm just like, okay, so the Brain and Gorilla Dude was super comedic in this season. And I'm just kind of like, wait, is this rinse, wash and repeat again? Like no, like I actually had them be evil. Like that the Doom Patrol actually finally be like, okay, maybe we're screwed. Maybe we should form a team or something like that, you know? But no, they were comedic this entire time. Especially Madame Rouge. Madame Rouge did not do it for me this season. She was beyond lame. Like she was just a regular character and she was very silly at times and she was very comedic. And that was mostly because she had amnesia throughout the entire season. And then when she did regain who she was evil, but not really. And she was just in a really, she was just a regular character with a regular personality and still being silly. And then she turned over a new leaf. Like she was never even really evil to begin with. And she's mainly just been like a nice woman who made a big mistake and decided, oh, I'm going to join the Brotherhood of Evil and blah, blah, blah. And then they don't want her. And it's just kind of like, now she's good. And I'm just like, what the world, man? They took a really awesome villain that Teen Titans did an amazing job with in the anime. Like, trust me, if you can find this clip on YouTube, I'm gonna look for it. It's the fight between her and Robin. That mess was amazing. How did they? And then they tried to replicate her powers in a very stupid way. Evil Baby Rouge. Basically, what this is, she snuck back into the mansion, disguised herself as Cliff's grandson, and then as a baby. And then when they found out she was Madame Rouge, she got slightly bigger. She was like the size of a toddler with some really bad CGI, and she just started beating on like the Doom Patrol with her arms bending around and legs flaring their way. And I mean, it was the worst CGI this show ever had. And this show is not known for having bad CGI. They're known for having amazing CGI. Look at season 1 when it was on DC Universe. Mr. Nobody, his CGI was amazing. So what happened? How did this drop the ball? Was it HBO Max? Because ever since these DC Universe shows have come here, they've been kind of like a bunch of like scrambled eggs. Like you just don't know what you're gonna get. Titans is still a messed up show. It tried to redeem itself in season 2, but then in season 3 they went back to that dark and grittiness and bad storyline writing. And then now in Doom Patrol, it just went for like whatever, you know. However, this season did focus on one member of Doom Patrol more than anybody else, and that was Rita. First, in the first couple episodes, she was in her woe is me type of way again. It's kind of like, why did you regress back into season 1? You pepped yourself up in season 2. But her whole beekeeper thing, that failed, and she just doesn't want to do that no more, so she's sad and depressed. She was the most fleshed out character this season with a very tragic backstory, but it took the entire season to tell. And because of that, it was the main focus of this season. And so other characters did get some screen time, but it was minimal. And they just had one storyline plot going on with them, while she had like a couple. And so with her, like I said before, she started off as the whole "woe is me" type thing, and then all of a sudden, like Madame Rouge time travel back in time, and she doesn't know why she's there, because when you time travel on this thing, the device, it erases your memories. And so nobody knew who built this time machine. Nobody knew why necessarily she went there, but she did. And so, like, she's there and she's in the manor. But at this point in time, the Doom Patrol have all went on vacation, except for Mr. Negative Man. He went up into space and got rid of his negative spirit. I'll get into him later. His little slug baby. And so, like, Rita's still doing the woe is me thing. Well, it seems that the Brotherhood of Evil, many, many years ago in the 40s, they put a hit out on Rita. And so they sent this alien, Gorgat or something like that, to assassinate her. He waited for decades and she never showed up. And then finally, in the year 2021, she showed up at the hotel resort that he just so happens to be staying at. Coincidence, you know what I'm saying? Oh, the writing in this season. And so he doesn't want to kill her no more. He's just like, and look, he told his assistant, look, man, we've been here for like over 40, 50 something years. She never showed up. Now she's here. And I just don't want to kill her no more. I just want to go home. He's been living on Earth this whole time, and he's this blue-skinned alien, and people don't freak out when they see him. People never freak out when it's weird. They freak out when they see the Doom Patrol, but they don't freak out when they see aliens and other monsters and stuff. So he just wants to go home. But his assistants are all like, man, we're going to finish this. So he kills Gorgat. He goes and he kills the Doom Patrol. Rita is the only one who hasn't been killed. And she tries to run out the door. And then the strangest thing happens. The time machine that Madame Rouge had came down on Earth, and Rita comes running out, and as the other Rita's trying to escape, she tells her, I'm sorry, pushes her back into the room to get killed, and closes the door. I assumed that was Madame Rouge because Madame Rouge can shapeshift and stuff, but no, it was Rita. And then, so they're in the underworld. Now, I've already explained that underworld episode, which is my favorite episode of this season. Just go watch that review. But the slim of it is, while they're there, Rita meets a man with a strange mask thing on her face, and she has no idea who he is, but she knows who he is. But no, he knows who she is, but she don't know who he is. And so, like, that was a huge mystery this entire season. I assumed they was gonna go somewhere with that, and they did, just not the way I thought they was gonna go. And then when you find out what the real reason is, it was pointless for them to all get murdered, go into the underworld and meet this guy. Like, it was stupid. And so after they get resurrected, they turn into zombies. And then after they but this is when they meet Madame Rouge. So they meet Madame Rouge, and she's all like, I don't know who I am, I don't know why I'm here. And so they let her stay with them, and then they turn into zombies, and then she helps free them from their zombified state along with somebody else. But then, oh, I forgot to mention, Niles is dead. He's been dead since the beginning of this season because of what happened last season with him dying of his disease thing. But his head's been decapitated by somebody else. But the head's been resurrected to talk to like the Doom Patrol and talk to like Laura, which is Madame Rouge. And he tells her, I'll help you free like my kids and stuff like that, you know, the Doom Patrol, but you have to stay away from them. And I'll give you back your memories, and I'll give you the files that have your like your memories and stuff, and tells you who you are, because she don't know who she is. She thinks she's a good woman. He's all like, you are a disgusting woman, you are an evil woman, and I'll give you the files of who you are and all this other stuff, but after that you have to leave and you must never interact with them again. She agrees, but of course she lies. And so it turns out that he put a hit on her many years ago when she was working for the Bureau of Normancy, which is the the Man of Nowhere in the comics. They just changed it for the show. And the question is, why? Why did he put a hit on her and stuff? This is not like him. He's an actual good guy. So, who experimented on these people and kept them immortal just so he can be immortal and stay with his crazy daughter. Anyways, oh, I forgot to mention, Dorothy is now gone. They wrote her out in the 3rd episode to go hang out with the dead boy detectives. So she is now gone the entire season. She is never mentioned whatsoever again. And so, like, that was pointless of bringing her in for the 2nd season just to get rid of her because she was a cool character. Anyway, so Rita this season. So then, what is it? Mountain Rouge, she helps the gang. She tells them what Niles told her, but she decides she's gonna stay with them. But she now knows she's an evil person, and she's still trying to regain like all her memories. So she tells, but then she sees like a video of her and Rita together. Now, see, here's the interesting thing. She came through time to kill Niles because she was recruited for a reason. And we'll find out a little bit about that later. And so with what's the name? So when she sees Rita, the fans are like, oh no. Like the Brotherhood wanted Rita dead for some bizarre reason. And so now Mountain Rouge and Rita was in the same video clip from the 1940s. How is this possible? She shows Rita this. Rita's all like, oh, I now know what my destiny is. And I must be like a time traveling superhero or something like that. So some more craziness happens in the house and Rita decides she's going to fix the time machine, which I don't know how she's able to fix it because she doesn't know how to do stuff like that. But she fixed it and she traveled back in time to the 1940s only to lose her memory because everybody who time travels loses their memory. Remember that. And so when she goes there, she don't know who she is. And so she's at the Bureau of Normancy and they find out she has like power. So Madame Rouge is there as Laura. She's the lady who assigns the metahumans. Either they can be a weapon or they can just work in like janitorial type stuff. The humans there treat them like crap. Every time they see one, they move away from them. And so she meets these group of people known as the Sisters of Dada, which is gender bent from the comics, the Brotherhood of Dada. Oh, I forgot to mention the Sisterhood of Dada. So Laura assumed that she was here to take out the Sisterhood of Dada, or they was here to take out her, so she sends the Doom Patrol to take them out. And so, like, they agree. And when they meet the Sisterhood of Dada, like, they're supposed to be super villains. But you don't really know what to make of them in this show. So when they first have their encounter, it's just some weird, more woe is me, give you some like depth into your life type thing. And they're not acting super villainous, but they have that edge to their eyes and make you think they are. So it's really confusing. And I spent this entire season thinking to myself, is the Sisterhood of Dada really supposed to be evil or not? Because in the comic books, the Brotherhood of Dada, which has been gender bent for them, they are evil and everything, but sometimes they don't see the difference between good and evil, so they just call themselves the Aloofs. And so but it's still like a villainous group. But then in this show, you don't really know. And so some of the characters got swapped, some got gender bent, some are still the same ones from the comics, but they have different code names now. And so it's just like, and so it's still the whole woe is me type thing. But the Dada people kind of like get into their heads of like the Doom Patrol and makes them feel even more sorry for themselves. And so like, what is it? So then when Rita's back in the 1940s, she meets the Sisterhood of Dada. They're working as the janitorial stuff. And because, see, here's the thing. Their powers, like, if they're a weapon, then Mountain Rouge Laura will like designate them as one. And then if they're not, then she'll designate them as something else, like janitorial stuff. Sisterhood Dada, their powers, even though it's cool, they're not really like weapon material. Rita could be used as weapon material, but she kind of has sympathy for it and, you know, hit the timestamp thing of like, you know, not a weapon. In the past, we see that Laura Mountain Rouge is actually a very nice person. Like, something's like, well, how exactly she turn evil? why did Niles put a hit on her? And so like she she befriends them, she dances with them, all kind of stuff. But she won't sit with them at the lunch table because the people there don't know she's a metahuman herself. Because she looks really normal. If they find out, then they will put her with them and stuff, and all their lives would be like in danger. So this sisterhood Dada, what them and Rita, they all like, you know what? We want to show the world like what we are about. We're not just like we're not dangerous and we're not freaks, and we should like show them in interpretive dance and music. Basically, they're like extreme theater people. Like you know how you see in TV shows those theater people like really extreme. That's how they are. And so they're gonna create like a dance recital thing called the internal flagellation. I kid you not. And so they're doing their thing and all that. And Rita ends up falling in love with a guy named Malcolm. He has a bird cage in his chest with a bird inside it. And she falls madly in love with him. And so at some point in time, something happens where the Sisterhood Dada gets in trouble at the bureau. And as they're being escorted off, because I think they found out Madame Rouge is somewhat rouge, that she's been designating people the wrong thing. Like some people that are weapons, she put them as like not a weapon. So they kind of got on to her about that. And so it's her butt or theirs. So as they're being escorted off because they decided to, well, they got into like a tussle with the humans and they decided to freak them out. And so that's why they got taken away. And they were probably about to be executed. So Madame Rouge disguises herself and she takes them and hides them and stuff. But then they get like found out. And so they basically tell Madame Rouge it's them or you know what I'm saying? So sadly, reluctantly, she designate every single last one of them as a weapon because the Bureau now sees that these people have a gift that could be used as a weapon to fight enemies and stuff. Now, Madame Rouge did not want to do that, but she had to, and these were her friends. They see it as the ultimate betrayal. And so, like, especially Rita. And then, sadly, Malcolm ends up dying as a result of a tussle and stuff. Rita, she's all heartbroken and upset. Somehow she ends up fleeing out of there. I think the other members, they have to stay and be forced as like weapons or something like that. So anyway, after this, Madame Rouge, she escapes because Rita's trying to like kill her or whatever. And so when Madame Rouge escapes, she goes to the Brotherhood of Evil. Rita's so heartbroken by this, she wants to go back into the future, regain her memories, and seek her revenge on Madame Rouge. And so that's what she does. And so like so she aligns herself with the Sisterhood of Dada. And they still gonna do their flagellation thing. One way or another, but she wants Rouge. And so when she goes there, the other members of the group, they got sucked up by the fog, which is a Sisterhood Dada member, and they get taken to the forest. And then Rita with them, they're confused. They're like, why is Rita with these people? And so Rouge, I think, I don't know where she's at by now. But then they perform their eternal flagellation, which is just these weird bird-like creatures with people faces on them, and they affect the entire world. Basically what this is that they're in this different realm of their mind, sharing all the same reality everybody in the world is. And then what it is like the person switches with their subconscious. So that made for an interesting episode, but a very confusing one at that. Before I get into the internal flagellation, let me get into some of the other characters, what they've been up to. Oh, they also fight giant, little tiny butt creature monsters when they were zombies. Why did they fight but creature monsters because this show is just weird. And so, like, okay, with the other characters, Mr. Negative Man, he went up to space, he got rid of the negative spirit, he goes back down to Earth, and now he's no longer with that thing. He feels kind of like, he feels a little bit better without that thing, but he also feels a little sad without it. So now he has no more powers. But when he's back on Earth, some strange stuff starts happening. He starts throwing up, and he grows a tumor in his stomach and in the back of his neck. And so he doesn't know what the world's going on with him. And now he's kind of like, crap, I should never got rid of the negative spirit. So then at some point in time, he gives birth to a giant slug creature. And it's really weird. Because, like, if you remember that Teen Titans episode, I forgot who found this thing. It might have been Beast Boy or Starfire. They found like this slug-like creature and they kept it, and it looks like that. And so the thing about Larry is that he's more so the like go with the flow type character. He's very sympathetic, he's very calm, he doesn't try to raise his voice. He does get angry with people, but he does in a very calm manner. And so, like, weird as he is, he raises this slug-like creature like his child, and he's acting like it's a baby human. I'm just like, what in the world? His son also comes to him, and they have like a heart-to-heart, but then they also have an argument and stuff. And Larry just tells him straight up, I'll help take care of you and stuff till you get better, but after that, you have to leave. And so they wanted to wrap up that storyline from season 2. And so basically Larry this entire season has just been raising that little worm slug-like creature. And that's basically it. And then when they're out looking for like Cliff because something happened, I'll get into a little bit later. The thing is it wants to try to merge with him and stuff, but it kind of can't because of his bandages. So they put it in like Cyborg, and they get back to the home, and so then it goes inside Larry, and now Larry has a brand new negative spirit. It's in the form of a little baby, and it's a little bit differently than the other negative spirit. What this one does, it turns Larry's entire body, when he wants to use the power, it turns his entire body into like this blue luminescent like aura, and it can fly around. But Larry don't know how to fly, so he crash lands in the ground. It's a pretty humorous scene. But yeah, so he has new complete powers, and we'll see what that's all about next season. But that's basically all Larry does this entire season. There's really nothing he did because it's just the Rita season. Cyborg, after talking to that woman that he fell in love with last season, she's still doing her terrorist stuff, and he was trying to stop her until she made him stop. He had his woe is me moment this season as well, especially when he was in the underworld, about how his mom told him that the dad could have used this synthetic metallic skin and made him look normal instead of putting the cyborg parts on him. He's pissed at his dad because his dad just wanted a superhero looking thing that the world can be like, oh, that's a superhero, instead of just like a regular looking person. So he's pissed. And so he contemplates, should he have the surgery? He eventually does. He no longer looks like a cyborg. He now looks totally human. And because of that, they had to take out like a lot of his mechanical parts, like his AI system. They had to take out his cannon arm and all this other stuff. He is now powerless. He still has like mechanical stuff inside him to keep him regulated, but his skin is that of synthetic material. So he's useless now. And so when all the bad stuff started happening towards the end of this season, both him and Larry couldn't do nothing because they had no powers. And it's weird seeing him without his cyborg stuff. Now, I will say this. he is still a million times better than the Cyborg of the DCEU. Like, in the actor as well, he's just everybody's favorite cyborg and stuff. I just wish when he had his cyborg stuff, it looked a bit better like it did in the movie. But the prosthetics they used just they didn't need to put more onto him, which now they can't. Trying to think something else happens to him this season. Oh, when he was getting oh no, I'll get into the flagellation thing a little bit later. So let's go to another character. Cliff. He finds out that his crappy dad bonded with his daughter when Cliff was supposedly dead back in the day. So this irks him and everything. So he wants to be the best grandfather and father he can be to his daughter. Well, he has a problem. He has Parkinson's now. It affects his brain, so it affects the rest of his body. Because of this, he has an addiction to like these blue little pills, and he's constantly chugging them, and so he's completely out of it. He also has a gambling problem this season and a porn addiction. He basically, he's not really watching porn the way you think he would. Basically, it's like this. While he's online gambling, doing like the slots, he's talking to this woman who's like in the bed naked, just talking to him like an OnlyFans thing, just getting all the money she can from him. And so when he starts running out of money because he's losing everything, he sells everybody's stuff in the house. And that's basic. And then so like, what is it? And then so when Madame Rouge come back all evil and stuff, she takes his body, she gives it to the brain, they swap brains. And then so I'll get into that a little bit later when I get to what's happening towards the end. Crazy Jane. Now she had a really interesting storyline this season. Her storyline, the whole Miranda thing is now done and over with. It got resolved very quickly. Miranda was going to take over the host's body, but Kay and the rest, they put Jane into like a plane and had shoot her up into the air so that she can take over the body. And now no more Miranda. Miranda was all the negative energy coming from all the different personalities, and it formed its very own Miranda. And it took over the disguise of the original Miranda. And so I guess it wasn't the dad, what everybody assumed, like in the comics. I guess it was an interpretation of that. So that's all done with now. And so, like, with her, this whole season, she has decided she's gonna let Kay grow up and experience the real world and everything. So, with that said, little Kay, the little kid who's never grown up and mentally and stuff, but physically, because Jane is technically Kay. Like the body you see of Crazy Jane is what Kay looks like all grown up and stuff. It gets a little confusing at times, but so Kay's grown up and she's taken over as like the host of her own body, and she's riding a bike and she's interacting with real people and stuff. And the other personalities, especially Mrs. Harrison, the brand new one, is not pleased by this. They don't want Kay to be grown up. They want to protect her at all costs. They think the real world is too scary for her. Even Jane's a little worried when she talks to a stranger, thinking, oh no, he's going to hurt you, but he doesn't. And so Jane's totally cool with this, and the other personalities are not. Miss Harrison will not stand for this. So at some point in time, when like Kay does take over the host body, some scary stuff happens. She retreats back down below. Now she's pissed off at Jane. And they flagellate and some stuff happens there. And then so like what is it? What happens after that? Actually, pretty much, like I said, I'll get into the finale. Now, I will say this. I do like the whole idea of Kay growing up and Kay experiencing the real world, because Kay has never been outside her own body since she created like all these personalities and created like the Miranda thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, it's just really neat to see, because the actress who plays her, she plays them two different ways. Because in the first season, she pretty much plays everybody the same way, even when she turns into the other personalities. Now you don't really see, in a sense, this show had to have lost its budget because Jane, other personalities don't take center stage and give her her powers. So they had to save their money for like other stuff. It couldn't have been the Mountain Rouge baby because that was just terrible. And so um so it was nice to see the actress play Kay and Jane two completely different ways. Like I was very shocked and amazed by that. And so like that was really like because she plays Jane. And she can tell you, she even plays Jane differently than she did in the first season. Jane was like really rude, screaming and cussing people out. And now she's more calm. She has a bit of a quirk in her voice now. And when she plays Kay, she plays her very calm, very still. Her voice is different. And one interesting thing about Kay is that she never got to meet Niles. She never got to be interviewed by Niles. And she asked Cyborg, can you interview me the way Niles interview all the rest of the personalities? It's just something she's always wanted because both Kay and Jane, they love Niles. Despite all the experimentations he did on the group, they are the only ones who still love him. Everybody else in the group is just like, screw him, they're glad he's dead. And so that's really interesting to see that because she needs a father figure because of the abuse that she suffered from her real father. Now the whole Larry thing in the slug and him like taking care of it as a baby, that was just strange and weird. But it shows the type of person he is. He accepts people for who they are and what they look like no matter what they are. He's probably the most human out of every member of like that group. And so that's like really great about him because he looks less human than the majority of them, stuff like, Cliff and stuff. Cliff is just Cliff. There's never really no real growth with him. He had the most growth in season one, I would say. Then in season two, he still wants to be like a good father, but he's always doing something stupid. And so he's one of those characters that never truly evolves in the show. And it's quite a shame. Laura Mountain Rouge. So, yeah. So we find out more as to what's going on with this season. We find out how all this time travel stuff works. How did they get the machine? Why did Rita sacrifice the group so they could all die? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So, like I said before, back in the 1940s, she was in the Bureau of Normandy. She was a good person. She helped the Dada people out until she was forced to betray them. After that, the cat's out the bag. The Dada had to stay with the Bureau, and then she would have stayed there too. They would have ratted her out that she is like a weapon and stuff. So she goes to work for the Brotherhood of Evil for no reason whatsoever. She just goes and joins them. And I guess she fears the Dada people, so she figures the Brotherhood will save her. They're all like, fine, whatever, you can join. But we want to give you a time machine to go into the future and kills Niles. This is where the time travel machine comes from. It comes from them. And so, like, the reason why they want Niles dead is because, like I told you before, he defeated them many years ago. Since they're too strong to defeat, they figured many years he won't have this team. They'll be dead by then, and they can just easily kill him then. So, she does that. But of course, she loses her memory and stuff. Because when you travel through time, you just lose your memory. So she stayed in the present, future day, trying to regain who she is. She's looking for Niles. She knows she can't find him because he's dead now. So she can't, her mission is complete. But then she sees like, when Niles tells her like who, gives her the files and the video footage of who she is, she's conflicted because she knows she's good. But then he keeps saying she's evil. And that's why he put the hit on her and stuff. And so like, she sees the video footage of her and Rita in the same thing. She doesn't understand why. And so you think she's gonna kill Rita because, the Brotherhood wanted Rita dead. Which I think the reason why they wanted Rita dead is because like Rouge told her that this woman time traveled and stuff like that, and all this other crap. So I guess to prevent Rita from doing that, she had to die. And next thing you know, so like that's when Rita time travels back in the past. Then when Rita comes back, she wants to kill Rouge and everything, but Rouge ain't gonna let her do that. So she flies away. Rouge tries to rejoin the Brotherhood of Evil, but the Brotherhood of Evil is kind of just like, we're retired. And she's like, what? And they're all like, look, we did the villain thing many years ago. It got us nowhere. Now we're living in a retirement home in Florida. And we're living up the life and everything. So she decides she's going to give them an offering and maybe, this will change their minds. She gives them Cliff's body and everything. And when she does that, the brain tricks her. He still wants to be retired. He wants nothing to do with Madame Rouge. He wants Cliff's body because the technology, that's another reason why he sent her into the future. Is to steal the technology of Niles because he wants the robot body. Because he the only kind of machine he's able to build is the one he has, and it's not like human looking enough. So he steals Cliff's body. He switches the brains, and what he does after that is still in retirement. He's dancing. He's playing golf. He's making love to women. I'm just like, dude, this guy was so much more evil in that Teen Titans cartoon. How did they drop the ball and made him so comedic and stuff? And so, then he sends the gorilla dude to go kill, what's her name, with Cliff's brain. The gorilla dude's just contemplating if he's gonna kill her or is he not. And he takes her into the forest where they dump all their stuff they don't want. And so he decides he's gonna let her live, but he's gonna keep her strapped to the gurney. And so when she frees herself, she knocks over Cliff's brain into like a pile of trash. And that trash is a giant robot. I think it's the same robot we saw in season 1. So somehow she gets inside it and she pilots it, even though she don't know how it works. So how the world does she work the machine if she doesn't know how it works? That's just bad writing right there. So she takes it. And she now wants to go kill the Brotherhood of Evil, the brain. And so she chases after him with a giant robot body. And she stomps on it, destroying it. So Cliff's kind of like, oh, you just destroyed my one robot body and everything. And then she's about to kill Cliff because she's tired of him. He's all like, look, you're not evil. I hung out with you for a couple of weeks and I know you not to be an evil woman. So she decides, you know what, you're right. So she lets him live, but she lets him stay in the robot's body because he's controlling it and stuff. And then she goes back to the time travel device thing. And she decides what she's going to do. She saw you know what, I can change all this. I can reverse everything that ever happened. Oh, no, wait, I can go further back than that. I can stop it from myself becoming evil. No, I can go further back to that. So she can't decide what she wants to do. What does the writers have her do? Go a few minutes into the future to the mansion to get the rest of the gang and tell them what happened to stop all this other stuff. So of course she loses her memory again, but she wrote down everything on a sheet of paper, telling herself that you're super evil, you suck. This is what everybody in the group looks like. There's a stretchy one who wants to kill you and all this other stuff. So then Rita comes and she tries to murder Rouge. She strangles her, but then Rouge is able to convince her not to do it because, there's a giant robot trying to destroy the city because it's Cliff. He can't stop walking and everything. And so, I'll get into that a little bit later. Basically, they ruined this character. This was such a cool character from the comic books and a cool character from the Teen Titans cartoon series, and they ruined her majorly. They dropped the ball majorly with this character. And I'm just like, how is this certified fresh? Nothing in this season made really no lick of sense. And so, like, now it's time to get to the flagellation part. Because now we have to explain why Rita did what she did and all this other stuff. So, Rita, when she went back into the future, after her man died in the past, she went to the future to ensure that like the rest of the group would be murdered so that she can go into the underworld and meet her boyfriend. But when present day Rita meets her former boyfriend, she has no idea who he is. So there's no point for Rita doing it. See, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. First things first is like, so when she went back into the future, she regained all her memories. So she knew that, so she remembers, you know, the other version of her stopped her from escaping. And then she went to the underworld and she met that man who she had no idea who he is. And he never takes off his mask. He keeps that stupid mask on his face that he was going to perform for the flagellation. But that makes absolutely no sense because her memory, she remembers what this dude looks like, future Rita and stuff. So there's really no point in sending like okay. Yeah, there's no point in sending like the press on. See, this whole time travel thing is confusing. Okay, wait. No, wait. No, she kind of had to do that because, okay, if she never allowed herself to die, then herself would never went into the underworld and met this man. And then later on, no, wait. See, this whole time travel thing is confusing. No matter what, she still would have went into the past. Because think about it. When they was in the underworld dead, Rouge was at the house with Larry. And so, like, when they came back from the land of the dead, they met Rouge and all this other stuff, and they interacted with her. And then that's when Rita saw the videotape of her and Rouge together, and that was sending her back into the past. So no matter what, Rita was going to go into the past no matter what. So Rita did not have to let her other self die in order to meet the dude in the underworld. Because yeah, the dude in present day Rita had no idea who he was. So she just did that so that at some point in time, she could see him one last time in the underworld, but she never gets to see his face because he's wearing that dumb mask. So this was just really stupid writing on their part. There was no point in having Rita have the entire team murdered and stuff. Like, that was just the dumbest thing in this entire season. But then now we get to like the flagellation stuff. So basically everybody swapped places with their subconscious. Cliff now sees the human form of himself. They kind of have it out talking about like, oh, how you suck and all this other stuff. And basically when everybody realizes what they did was so wrong in the past and all this woe is me stuff, they go back to their normal state. It's still season one crap again of woe is me type mess. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've already done that for 2 seasons. We know what they did. They know what they did. They know how they changed their lives since that. Let's see. Larry meets the other version of himself and talking about like, oh, we talked to mom and all this other stuff, and you know, we were closeted and all this other stuff. It's still season one stuff again, so we don't need to see that. Now with Jane, it's completely different. Her and Cyborg. With Jane, it's a little funny. Jane is a puppet. All the personalities in her head are puppets now, because Kay is now swapped places with her, so she's interacting with everybody else. And so like she made, for some reason, all the other personalities puppets in the flagellation for some bizarre reason. And so it's actually a humorous part, but it's stupid at the less. And then they have like a lamb chop like type character in there from, you know, Lamb Chop's Play Along, and they murder the thing. It's like red, squishy, like cotton that you see as blood, and they rip the thing apart. The other personalities, and Jane does too. It's the most hilarious thing ever. Cyborg, we see a version of him when he was little. See, he swapped places with a action figure, a military action figure. The reason being that because when he went to the store, okay, it was like a black awareness type thing. They wanted to show what I guess. Well, they did something. He's in his 30s or 20s, so it was probably like in the 80s at this time. I think he had an afro. So it was in the 80s. He was a little kid with his dad. They was at a toy store, and Vic got really pissed. He started throwing all the toys on the ground, and then the dad asked, "Why are you doing this for?" And he's all like, "I can't find a black superhero." And so, because all he could see were white ones, and that's basically what all you saw in the stores back in those days. And so, like, the manager dude who works in the store, who's a white dude, he's all like, I'm gonna have to ask y'all to leave, or I'm gonna have to call the police. And Vic kind of got like an attitude with him, and the dad told him, "Look, man, you can't make mistakes like this because when the cops show up, it could end your life." So basically, it's what's been going on with black people over like the decades and stuff, and especially now. So they're kind of hyping it up for him, all like in this moment. So they flagellate. Vic has decided to like have his procedure. Nobody is happy that he's had his procedure because they are kind of like the X-Men. They are the outcasts, and they're all like, well, you just look normal now. And what makes him special, like his powers, are now all gone. And so he's upset that nobody is happy for him and stuff, and he's pissed off. And so the Dada people and Rita, they all want Rouge now. They want her to pay. They tell her everybody what she did. She flies away. She, like I said before, she went to go rejoin the Brotherhood. So now, after the whole Rouge baby fight thing, she steals Cliff's body. She gives it to the Brain. The group is all like, we have to go after Cliff. And then as they're riding around trying to find her, they throw some truth bombs at Rita. They're all like, you're not doing this to save Cliff. You're only doing this for the revenge. And you did all this crap for your revenge. This entire season has been Rita's revenge. It's been a very bizarre season because they threw in little pieces here and there and then explained because it was a mystery, and I get that. But then it's like when you start to find out the reasons why all this stuff is going on and how everything's coming to be, it's really stupid when you think about it. And not to mention, there are multiple time machines now in different parts of the time. Like, there is still one in the 1940s stuck there until Rita brings it back into the future. The Rouge time machine went into the... Well, no, because then it keeps circling around. See, I hate time travel episodes. Everything's so confusing. Because at one point in time, there was 2 time machines in one time period. Then one leaves, then the other one leaves, and then it circles back around. And then there's 2 in the same spot again. And it's just like, ugh, So in a way, they have a huge car accident because something's going on with Jane on stuff. Like, because Kay, she can't fight the monster people, so she brings Jane back. But there's been a cave-in now at the underground. Kay is now trapped. Kay is also still pissed off at Jane for some reason. I think because she let her grow up and she saw something scary. She's all like, why'd you let me do this? And blah, blah. Because the other personalities are making Kay hate Jane now because they want to get rid of Jane, especially Mrs. Harrison. And so Kay's like, oh, I hate you now, blah, blah, blah. A cave-in happens. Some of the members get hurt in the personality thing. Whatchamacallit. So Jane is on the bus, and then something happens. She lets out a sonic scream. And I'm just like, okay, is this Jane? Does she now finally have a power? Or is this Kay? Like, it's Kay, but it can't be Kay because when she's Kay, her body transforms and looks completely different wearing different clothes. So she can't be Kay, it's Jane. Somehow Jane has like this dormant power inside her and it lets out. It blows up the bus and stuff. They have a car accident. And Rita at this point is distancing herself from the group because they just all pissy at her because of all this crap is literally her fault and everything. And so like, as they're all trying to like stop Cliff and stuff, because they can't make it to Florida. As they're trying to stop Cliff, he's in a giant robot body. He's now like, oh, I'm gonna make amends. So he goes to his daughter's place. He apologizes for being a crappy father. And he's going to be the best father and grandfather he can be. Once again, it's still the woe is me crap from last season. He's already resolved this crap. Then he goes and he returns all the stuff that he took from his roommates. But then there's a problem. He can't stop the robot's body. Jane teleports inside, and not knowing how to work everything, she's just pressing all buttons and levers. She hits the self-destruct button. Now, how is Rouge able to drive this thing, but she's not? Like, neither one of them has training in this thing. But of course, it's the conflict of what's going to happen at the end. So she hits the self-destruct button. She's screwed. She decides she's going to die along with Cliff because she don't want him just to die alone. Because she can't, I don't know why she doesn't just transport out of there and everything with the brain of his. But because now he's headed to a baseball game to stomp on them by mistake. And so I guess she just feel like she's going to die because her mistake or whatever. And they're going to blow up too. So what stupidness. And then so with Rita, she tries to kill Rouge. She tries to strangle her. Rouge talks her out of it. And then we finally see Rita do something from the comic books. She turns into the real Elastic Girl. She grows into a giant. And she stops like the robot thing by like stopping it in its tracks by like pushing onto it. It was such a comic book moment. I'm like, that's awesome. But then now, they go back home, and like I said before, Larry has the new negative spirit in him. He can fly and luminesce. Vic is still not Cyborg no more, with no powers. And so now he's the only one without powers and stuff. Rouge wants to join the group of the Doom Patrol, and Rita and them all like, no, but Cliff's all like, I can vouch for her because she's not really that evil. So they let her join. But like I said before, she was never truly evil to begin with. That's just in the comic books. So they're watching the news and they decided, hey, we're finally going to turn ourselves into a superhero group. I'm just like, are you sure? Because y'all said that every season and it's never happened. And if it does happen, Lord have mercy on everybody's soul watching this. Because this group cannot get along. And so, like, they see on the television in the harbor in a different part of, like, the country that there's a giant testicle monster wreaking havoc. So they're going to stop it. But they can't get there because the bus is destroyed. So they have a stupid idea of how to get there. And when I mean it's stupid, it is literally stupid. They're all going to get inside Cliff, the giant robot machine. So, and then now Rita is going to teleport them there through the time machine, like 3 or 6 minutes into the future so they can get there. And I'm just thinking to myself, or 6 minutes into the past, and I'm just thinking to myself, they're going to lose their memories. But they have a way to remember who they are. They put their names on a sticker and put it on their heads. And they wrote down on a chalkboard, Rita's chalkboard, of when they're supposed to be superhero type stuff, of who they are and what their mission is and all this other crap. This is the dumbest thing ever. Why lose your memory? Why not just have Jane? Oh, that's right. Jane can't connect. I forgot Jane. She made a deal with Miss Harrison because all the personalities went into the fog after the flagellation thing with the Dada people. So all the personalities are out and about in the fog, and they're no longer inside Kay's body and stuff, or her head. So Miss Harrison has made them do that. And the problem is when it collapsed down in the underground, now their skin is breaking apart. They're all going to die. So she made, and then they only fall on Miss Harrison. So to make a deal, Miss Harrison will now be the primary, and Jane will stay down in the underground. Hammerhead does not like this. Hammerhead says she's gonna fix what's going on in the underground, and she tells Jane to go back up above so they can stop Giant Cliff. But Hammerhead, I guess, doesn't do it because Miss Harrison takes over. And so now Jane is no longer Jane, she's Mrs. Harrison, and nobody knows that. So that's interesting for season 3, but it's going to get resolved really fast. And then so now it's like, what's even more dumb is that Cyborg has no powers. They're about to lose their memories as they time travel to go stop a giant testicle monster. They could have easily, they could have had Jane transport them, but they can't because she's now Miss Harrison. But now it's like, well, even if Miss Harrison is gonna do the right thing and be a hero or whatever, she could have probably let the other thing there transport them, but she's not gonna lose control because she don't want to. But it's like they could have called the Dada people and had the fog people, the fog lady teleport them there or something. But to lose their memories just to stop a testicle monster, I mean, that was just dumb in so many different ways. And of course, they're gonna slowly regain their memories, but it's gonna take a long time from season 3 to regain it. So it's just kind of like I don't understand. And this got renewed for a 4th season, so it's like, what direction are they gonna go into now? Because it's kind of like Dorothy is no longer there. They're gonna lose their memories in season 4. Some people powers have changed. Larry doesn't know how to control his new powers. Vic doesn't have powers, and Cliff is a giant robot. And so it's like, how in the world are they going to? Because they can't keep using the giant robot thing because that's going to cost too much money. So what the world are they going to do? Why didn't they just go into the past and erase this entire seasoning, like food seasoning, erase this entire season from happening? That would have been the smartest thing. But no, the writers want you to think, oh, big cliffhanger. But they're gonna resolve it in the first episode of the premiere of the 4th season. So what is the point? So back to my point again of this show. Oh, and I forgot the most important thing that happens to Rita towards the end. Right before she tries to kill Madame Rouge, she's talking to the brain. And he's in Cliff's like body. When she smushed him, when Rouge smushed him, she only smushed like the legs. The rest of the body is like intact. And so he's telling Rita, like, I can teach you how to get revenge. I can teach you how to be evil, blah, blah, blah. And so she's buying into it. But then she's all like, you know what? After all I've been through. And then so she starts to do the skull part of like the helmet to the robot. And there's the brain. And she takes some boiling hot water and pours it all on top of his brain. I'm pretty sure she murdered him. So now Rita is a murderer, and now she's ready to kill Rouge. She has had the most character development out of everybody in this, but she's going down a dark path. What will she be like in season 4? Because like I told you before, she let Rouge live, and now Rouge has joined the team. And so is this just all gonna be like forgotten? It's just like, I don't understand what's like. I know this whole season everybody acting like they high. I think the writers were too when they wrote this. I mean, because Doom Patrol is just that weird show. People going up a donkey's butt and going to a different dimension. Whatever, we accepted that. You know what I'm saying? Just like, whatever, it's a quirky show. Now you're having like a giant butt monsters and one got zombified and try to like resolve that last one because they don't know it's around. Now there's a testicle monster. This is just a wacky show. And it's just like, for the first part, like I told you in my review, when I first reviewed the episode where they went to the underworld, I just accept it for what it is, It's a bunch of misfits. They're always dancing around. They don't want to be superheroes. But then it bugs me when they found out, oh, they can dismantle bad guys. So then it's kind of like, well, where is this gonna go? And now they finally want to be that superhero group. They're gonna crash and burn and fail big time because every season they fail at the end. Like, they've never been able to like defeat the major like bad guys. And since this season didn't have a major bad guy, they really didn't defeat nobody. And it's just like, I like the show better when they stopped trying to be superheroes and they were just being just a bunch of like depressed people who dance around and stuff. But then, like I said before, after a good while, it's just rinse, wash, and repeat. It's just like, how long can they keep doing that same formula, So maybe changing it up and making them superhero would probably be for the better for this show. Like, really, who knows? You know what I'm saying? This show literally tricks people into thinking it's like amazing, but it's just the same stuff over and over and over again. It's always a supervillain from the comic books who's really evil. They make that person very comedic or not evil at all. None of the villains this season were evil. Like, even when the brain took over Cliff's body, he didn't do nothing bad. He didn't take over the world. He danced the night away. Gorilla Dude don't want to be evil no more. alien guy who's supposed to assassinate don't want to be evil no more. Rouge is not evil. The Dada is not. They had no real villain this season. If anybody was really a villain, it was probably Rita for screwing everything up and everything, you know? And so, like, now they're gonna have the spinoff of the Dead Boys detectives, and I guess Dorothy's gonna be on that show, and Niles is still dead, and like, it's just, what was the point of this season? Nothing really happened that moved the story along for the rest of the characters except for Rita and maybe Jane and stuff. And the other ones, like the other ones had storylines, but there was small, minute stuff. But yeah, Rita had the biggest one of them all. But it's just like, it's supposed to be the Doom Patrol, not the Rita show. And it's just like, you know, there was no point for the everything that happened in this season to happen. There was no point for the Dada people, the flagellating everybody. There was no point because they all would have came to the same conclusions no matter what. And the whole the brotherhood thing was a wasted story arc. Rouge was a wasted character. It's just this show tricks people into thinking it's great. It's good, but it's not amazing. And people don't know how to judge this show because of how strange and bizarre it is. It reminds me of this thing from So You Think You Can Dance. In the third season, they had a dance where two characters had to dance like a fox. It confused the crap out of the judges so much that they didn't know how to judge it. So they basically gave it a good score, even though they didn't understand it. And the viewers at home had to be the ones to make the hard decision of, is this good or is it not? But viewers don't know because it's so strange and bizarre. And that's kind of how, like, what this show did. It makes it so strange and bizarre, you don't know how to judge it. And then because it does things that other shows don't, like Titans is kind of like, you know, oh, I guess it's kind of cool. See, if Titans never made their show the way they did, then people probably would hate Doom Patrol. So that's kind of a good thing Titans did that, because I do love Doom Patrol and stuff. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.